Hi, I'm Bob Trask. Thanks for being with me. Today we're going to talk about reality. And the question is reality real? Is your reality real? Is my reality real? Imagine that you and I go to a movie. We're sitting in this movie, it's supposed to be a great movie. And only once in a while do we glance up at the screen. And the rest of the time we're busy. We're either writing a novel or writing a letter or talking on the telephone or playing a game or texting someone. I ask you to imagine that because that's exactly how most of us live. That's exactly how most of us live. We're watching without seeing the greatest movie of all time, the movie of our lives, the movie of reality. Most of the time, most of us don't even know it's playing. And it's not just a movie we're missing, it is reality. We're living imaginary lives in imaginary worlds. Today, I'm not asking any of us to change that. I'm simply going to explain how we can expand our lives to become masters of this journey. We're going to explore one of the greatest mysteries of our lives and then see reality, hopefully, through new eyes. Greek writer Nikos Kazantzakis said, "Since we cannot change reality, let's change the eyes which see reality." That'll make a lot more sense as we move on. Right now, your brain and mind are showing us a world full of color and motion. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? We're all seeing stuff around us. Right now, I'm looking at a computer screen and a camera and walls, and there's pictures and certificates of ordination and certificates and letters from presidents and all kinds of stuff. And I'm looking at all that stuff, and it's all color and motion. And I'm hearing voices and music and nature sounds. And we're smelling and tasting fragrances and flavors. And we're touching and feeling with our fingers and our bodies and our feet. And all of that is happening in our brains. But in fact, our brains live, each of us, in a tiny, dark box that's never seen light, never heard sound, never smelled or tasted or touched anything. This world is one that our brains have never seen. This world is one that our brains have never seen and never will see, because they're hidden inside of these completely dark compartments called skulls, and they've never seen, heard, touched, smelled, or tasted anything. Their only connection to the outside world is through messages from chemicals and electrical neural impulses. And yet we believe our brains are seeing and hearing and sensing. We think the universe they're projecting to us is real. So the question is, what's real? What is real? Today, let's find out. So let's stick with that one thought just for a minute. I look right now where you are, you're looking at something. You probably are looking at a screen, seeing an image of Bob Trask talking to you. Well, if you close your eyes, you'll still hear the voice. And if you open your eyes, you'll see the image. But both the sound and the image, the visual image, are going through some neurosystems, neurosystems through your ears and through your eyes, back into that little beautiful organ that's sitting in that completely in the dark. It doesn't see light. It does not hear sound. It's only getting information. And then it's just information. And it's not information like you read a book or watch television set. These are just electrical impulses, chemical electrical impulses that are coming in to your brain. And they're telling you what reality is. Motivational speaker Robert Ringer said, reality isn't the way you wish things to be, nor the way they appear to be, but the way they actually are. And here's the strangest thing. There are billions of brains, each locked into its own darkness. And yet all of them are realizing the same world at the same time. Now, how could that be? If each one of those, of the 8 billion of us on this planet, if each one of us have their own little brain locked into our own individual little dark skull, how is it that we're all seeing the same mountain? When we see, how can we be seeing that same mountain? How can that be? If we're not connected to each other, and we're not connected to each other, I don't have any wires connecting my brain to your brain, so we're not connected. And how can we all agree on the colors red and yellow and blue? Because light itself has no color. The light that we think of around us, there is no color in light. Colors don't exist outside of our brains. The air around us vibrates, and we think that that's music. We determine that it's music, or it's speech. And then those marvelous brains create color and texture and sound, and then they call it the world. They call it our world. This is my world. And we pretend that it's out there, out there. And then our brains decide on what that means. Let's see, let's give that meaning. What could the purpose of that be? Then let's give it a meaning. So we put all of these things together, the motion and the events and the colors and the dances and the light and the sound and the tastes and the feelings and the touch and the smell. We put all that together and we call that reality. What is reality? We're going to get a surprising answer to that question. It's an answer that'll set us free in a brand new way, a brand new, delightful way of thinking. Because our brains do more than just receive codes. They're creating color. They're creating depth. They're creating tones. They're creating taste and feeling. And then giving those images meaning. This is not just an idea. This is neuroscience. Lao Tzu, the famous Chinese philosopher who lived nearly 800 years before Jesus was born, said, and think about this, 800 years before the master, Jesus, was born, Lao Tzu said, life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Now, what is he saying? Is he saying that there's a reality on the outside of us that we need to pay attention to and flow with it? Or is he saying that because he was one of the believers that everything is an illusion, is that when that illusion comes into your brain, what should you do with it? Should you fight it? Should you try to change it? Or should you just let reality be reality? Let things flow naturally forward in whichever way they like. Science has shown conclusively that physical matter is an array of invisible waves and invisible particles. That's it. The wall you're looking at across the room from you, that wall, that's an array of invisible waves and invisible particles. It doesn't exist in a physical way. It does not exist physically. So if our eyes, our ears, and our bodies are just catching vibrations and converting them into experiences inside our brains, then what's truly out there? Is that wall even out there? Is it a mountain, a tree, an ocean? Or how about people? Do they even exist? Our dark, locked away brains are receiving chemical signals from our eyes, our ears, and on, firing across neurons in absolute darkness. But where are those signals coming from? Mustn't there be something out there sending messages to my brain? Boy, this is the turning point right here. This is where, for me, it gets really exciting. Because if my brain is just organ, temporary organ, it's only going to be here for a few years, sitting inside my skull, and that's not who I am. That's my brain. I can say my brain. Who's saying my? Oh, that must be not my brain. That must be me. Who's me? So my brain sitting inside the skull. But after a while, that brain will go away. And then where will I be? Then what will become of me? So mustn't there be something out there sending messages to my brain? And mustn't I be connected with that something? Isn't that something everything? Isn't that something consciousness? Isn't that something the great mind, the great creator, the great oneness, the alwaysness, the isness? Can we just pretend for a moment, just for a moment, that this physical universe doesn't even exist? Doesn't exist except as an experience in our brains, in our minds. Doesn't exist. Just pretend with me for a minute that it doesn't exist except as an experience in our brains. Then we don't physically exist either, except as vibrations. And incidentally, I'm going to jump ahead of myself here and say that the name of that vibration that we are is love. It is. Not the gushy, emotional, sloppy thing called love, but the power of the universe that is love. Beautiful love. Okay, then is anything real? Is anything real? Yes, most certainly. There's a reality more exciting, excuse me, and more beautiful than anything we could imagine. It's consciousness that exists as the greatest creator of all. There's nothing in any form, any universe, any time or space that is not consciousness. It is all. It is the creative wisdom that lives in you and in me and gives us the experience we think of as mountains and whales and chocolate ice cream. I see a rose and smell it, and I show it to you. And you see it and smell it, and we agree on its color, its beauty, and its fragrance. We agree because even though we are individuals, we are one with consciousness. And that consciousness is feeding us. And when you and I can come together in love and join ourselves in that consciousness of love, then we begin to see the same things and dance together and enjoy the same reality. Democritus, this gentleman was really interesting. He formulated the atomic theory nearly 500 years before Jesus was born. Formulated the atomic theory nearly 500 years before the birth of Jesus, in case we think any of that stuff's new. And Democritus said, nothing exists except atoms and empty space. Everything else is opinion. He's talking about everything else is in your brain, is in my brain. So here's how it works in reality. We're one consciousness looking through our different eyes and sharing our points of view. One consciousness looking through our different eyes and sharing our different points of view. I listened to the greatest minds in history who went through this same process and came to the conclusion that there's no one out there other than me. There's no one out there other than me. And I can change the word me to us because that would be more accurate. We are all one. We're looking through the same reality. through our individual lenses. We're in fact everything. We're both the trees and the warm wind and that ripples through the leaves of those trees. We're the sea and the waves upon the shore. We're the loftiest mountains. And we're the blankets of endless stars and galaxies. We're consciousness. And we're each creating our experiences of this life in this universe. And why are we doing that? What are we doing here? Why should we have these bodies? And why should we have these little or brain organs that are taking in this information and converting it into experiences? Why should we have these experiences? Well, because then when we have these experiences, then we get an opportunity to express those experiences. Those are the two steps of life, experience and express. And the expression means creativity. So when I express, I create, whether it's speaking or singing or walking or talking or baking a cake, whatever I'm doing, as I'm expressing, I'm creating. And as a creator, I'm one with the universe. I'm one with consciousness. I'm one with all. Then I am consciousness. And then the universe and all of this, the mountains and the stars and the galaxies and the great blue whale and the eagle and the waves on the shore and the wind in the trees and the wildflowers in the meadow, they're all me. They're all you. They're not separate from us. They live inside of us. And they are us. And all other humans are our family. And they're all experiencing with us. And that mutual experience is called love. And you and I have seen what happens in the world when we don't pay attention to that mutual experience. We see the wars and the pestilence and the awfulness that goes on. That's an aberration. That's an illness. That's a dis-ease in the human family. Divine consciousness is beyond the body, beyond programs and beliefs and opinions. Divine consciousness is so spectacular that it takes our breath away. And it's loving us. It's loving us. It's blessing us. When I say blessing, I mean strengthening. It's protecting us. And it's setting us free to be us. We're in a dark theater, but the movie's not on the screen. It's inside of us, as us. This is life, divine and sacred life. So don't we have to stop thinking and just be? Don't we have to just stop thinking, stop judging? Because every time we think, we're judging things. We keep judging it. Well, I don't know if that's true. Well, look at it this way. Well, look at it that way. Well, don't look at it anyway. Just be. Because thinking is judging and it takes us out of the game. So let's welcome the truth that we live inside consciousness forever as consciousness, always loved, always blessed, always safe, and always free. And to finish today, we'll dance to the poetry of the wonderful poet Dejan Stojanovic. Dejan Stojanovic, a Greek, incredible guy, wrote this poem, and I think you'll love it as much as I do. To hear never heard sounds, to see never seen colors and shapes, to try to understand the imperceptible power pervading the world, to fly and find pure ethereal substances that are not of matter, but of that invisible soul pervading reality. To hear another soul and to whisper to another soul, to be a lantern in the darkness or an umbrella on a stormy day, to feel much more than know, to be the eyes of an eagle, the slope of a mountain, to be a wave, understanding the influence of the moon, to be a tree and read the memory of the leaves, to be an insignificant pedestrian on the streets of crazy cities, watching, watching, and watching, to be the smile on the face of a woman and shine in her memory as a moment saved without planning. I want to just finish today by reminding us that we're at choice. We can pretend to be out there in the world, letting the world bathe it with its colors and its dances and all of its stuff. Or what we can do is acknowledge that we are experiences and expressions of consciousness, and we are unlimited. And that beautiful consciousness, whether we're diving under the sea or we're flying above the mountains, or whether we're holding somebody in our arms, or whether we're watching a beautiful animal, a doe or a fawn or a bunny rabbit or a bird, whatever we're doing, to let our hearts be open, to let ourselves go free, to know that we are watching all of this, hearing all of this, feeling all of this in our brains. And those magnificent, magnificent organs of consciousness give us the opportunity to be one with all, to be one with consciousness. Today, thank you for being with me. Now, I hope that you'll invite other people to come to this site so that we can get a larger and larger family. And next week, I'll have a brand new talk for you. Thank you. Go with my love.